here we are with the Vortex boy video, another one, and he really did become Uzuhiko in this chapter 12, and Boruto really did become Uzuhiko. You know, he became Vortex boy for real in this chapter when he used that shit at full power, which I'll get into later because, you know, they gave us some more in-depth explanation on how this move works, okay? And they gave us more information around it. And if you noticed that there's a lot of YouTubers that deleted their videos and they probably put them on hidden because they preemptively tried to explain Uzuhiko and they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. So they deleted their videos and removed them because we gotta put some new information out. Let me not say a lot of YouTubers, but some of the ones I noticed, because I literally, it was a thought that was in my head. The explanation came out that Boruto gave us, and I remember certain YouTubers arguing against the fact that he really was using the planet's chakra, because a lot of people were saying it was stupid. And by the way, I mentioned in a previous video saying that he was using the planet's chakra, and the only way for somebody to be able to do this is if they had an Otsutsuki ability. That's the only way. I don't think this Sage Mode ability is strong enough to do that. That's not a thing that Sage Mode does, I'm pretty sure, unless they're trying to add some new shit onto that. But Boruto has to be using Otsutsuki abilities to pull in energy from the planet that he's just referring to as chakra. But that's a whole nother story. I'll make a video on that. But Vortex boy making his vortex in this chapter and all that shit. It's like, it was they try to make him cool. I feel like trying to make somebody look cool, and it's like you can tell they're trying to look cool, that makes them not cool. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to be cool. That shit doesn't work. So at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if he had some small trace of Nine Tails chakra inside of him too, even if it was way less than Himawari. But that's a whole nother story too. Let me get into this video, right? Yeah, so I'm assuming if you're here, you already read the chapter. I'm not about to give you a play-by-play of everything that happened, but I'm going to tell you my thoughts on everything that happened in chapter, good and bad, what I thought was good, what I thought was bad, you know, like every other chapter review I do, okay? So let me start off with, I'll start off with one good thing, okay? So throughout this chapter, you see Code's claw marks, or I guess it's all the Shinju use them now too, so just claw marks, right? The claw marks are popping up like the way I said before, the way everybody already theorized, right? Is that Hidari can use his Rinnegan to make the claw marks appear, similar to Sasuke's Rinnegan ability. It's working off of, whatever he can see. That's basically every ocular jutsu, right? So yeah, so and if you heard any of my other videos, one of my major problems with the claw marks is the inconsistency of how they just appear and reappear and disappear in scenes, and there's no, I understand sometimes something might happen off screen, but like you can literally see in the panel that thing, the claw mark is not there, and then one panel later is there, okay? Giving them ability like this where they can pop up far away, as opposed to Code where he had to like claw them down physically, which we didn't even see him do that for a while anymore. But as opposed to Code, this is like, it keeps it more consistent. So I just wanted to say good on Ikimoto and Kishimoto for starting to think of that shit again. I gotta start throwing Kishimoto in the allegations when I point my finger at how bad this is, because he's complacent and complicit. Like, he's agreeing with this shit. Like, he's not going against it. Okay, so I gotta condemn him too. It's only right? It's only fair. Ikimoto's doing the art. Kishimoto is sitting here letting a lot of these writing choices be had. And he's probably having some of them too, because he does think of some of the story and shit. So Yeah, I can't blame the execution only on Ikimoto, even though execution is probably him. I'm digressing, but anyway, I noticed that throughout the chapter, it feels like a lot of the dialogue. I'm seeing commas. I feel like commas were in some certain spots they shouldn't be, and the use of master, calling Konohamaru master all the time. I can understand it for Sasuke, but since when did Sakura start referring to Konohamaru as Master Konohamaru? Are they just translating the word sensei and completely substituting it for master? I think that's what they're doing when they could just like not do that. It's simply just not do that. I don't know why they're choosing to do it though, but whatever. Okay, and I hope I'm not going too far out of order. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, right? I'm not giving the chapter play by play, but I do want to keep on track with with what I'm complaining about, because I also noticed in this chapter that Kawaki is utterly useless in a lot of ways, right? And Delta even more so. She's even more useless than Kawaki is. And I said before in the last, earlier chapter, I forgot which one it was, like 10 or 11, I forget. I don't know who the fuck is counting, right? But Delta was standing there. She couldn't even like really see or react to Boruto moving over to Kawaki. So like she was watching it, right? She's standing on the side watching. You would think her with her android eyes would be able to see Boruto moving over to Kawaki. You can understand Kawaki not seeing it. He's talking shit. He's the one fighting. He got caught off guard. But the spectator should be able to see the moves that the fighters aren't seeing, right? Delta couldn't even see Boruto move. And my point of mentioning that is, in this chapter, I didn't hear anybody say it, but in this chapter, the same thing kind of happened again, where, first of all, Kawaki is also useless. I mentioned him because both of them were floating in the air, right? Both of them were floating right there, staring at Jura, okay? Kawaki flew ahead because he wanted to catch up to the fight. That happened off screen, though. Last time we seen them, they were just staring at Jura, right? So Kawaki flew off ahead. This is why he was able to kill Hidari, which I'm going to talk about all that later too, right? But he was able to kill Hidari because he flew ahead. And we see the distance that he's kind of trying to portray with the drawings. Like I said before, I'll talk about this part later too. I hate the way he conveys distance and how inconsistent the scenes are because of that type of shit, right? I'll get into detail on that later too, though. But before I digress far, let me finish up. Like Kawaki, he flew in, right? So we know Jorah was on the ground. He was standing on the ground, 2 feet on the ground when Kawaki left. Or when we last seen Kawaki and Delta looking at him. So you telling me when he shows up to the scene to kill Hidari and Boruto gets shot, he's asking Delta for a status report and her dumb ass is just sitting there not saying anything? Bro, you telling me that whole time she didn't see Jorah get off of the ground and float up in the air and line up and sit there staring at them from across the spot, from down the way? She didn't see that? Like, come on, bro. It don't make no sense. Or am I reading the scene wrong? Was she now floating in the sky above Kawaki and company? Did she like follow him over there? Is that what they want us to believe? Which would be like utterly stupid. Like, why are they keeping their eye off of this major threat? And they're there to fight this nigga in the first place. I mean, he knows he can't do nothing to this dude. But where the other Shinobi at? This is the village, bro. This is my problem with Boruto, man. Like, where's the rest of the village at? The Hokage's son was out there getting attacked by one of these dudes. You telling me nobody else in the village showed up yet? Like, they're fast. These ninja are fast. Yeah, they evacuated people or whatever. Like, who the fuck cares? Right? That's supposed to happen. Which is it's a bullshit excuse because they got evacuated off screen and they didn't want to show us the procedure of it because the writing that they have nowadays with the series, it's not strong enough to uphold any of that. You can't. The scene probably wouldn't even make sense if they did it, bro. It'd be some bullshit. So that's why Kawaki and Delta are trash. Delta's really sitting there, and even if she wasn't there anymore, even if it was like the latter option I said, where she came over and she was floating above Boruto and everybody else now because she followed Kawaki. Why would they do that? That's stupid. They really left this major threat over there. So that's extra dumb. Okay. And the lack of other shinobi popping up is stupid. Doesn't even make sense. It makes the Hokage in the Leaf Village look stupid. Okay. And people can complain all they want, saying, "Oh, you guys just want the old characters back, but it's a new show, blah blah blah." Well, okay, that's fair, but then fuck the old characters. Give us some other new random jonin, not this little sensory fat shonen dude. This not shonen. What the hell am I talking about? This sensory ninja who was like trash, can't do anything, can't even sense in one direction, like accurately. Like, oh, they're coming from everywhere. I don't know. He's getting scared and shit. Like, Boruto has to tell him to calm down. Like, this nigga's been doing this shit before Boruto was alive, and this is stupid. Like, where's the other ninja at? But I'm digressing. So, I also noticed that during the little fight that they had with Hidari, that nigga Boruto, it seems like, maybe I'm wrong. Y'all tell me in the comments if y'all hear me, and y'all, if y'all at this part in the video and y'all hear me say this. Tell me if I'm wrong when I say it looked like Boruto used a shuriken to use flying Rajin through a shuriken. That's what it looked like he did. Like, he threw a shuriken and used flying Rajin on it. And maybe I'm wrong, because I know this whole time he's been using it through the frogs, but that doesn't mean that he only can use it through the frogs. Like, if he was able to put those seals, which I'll get into that, because that kind of doesn't make sense the more I think about it, right? They're trying to limit his ability, even though they already unlimited it at the same time, by saying that it's technically a completely different jutsu than Minato's, the fourth, right? Because that's what they said in that little data book that people was basing all their shit off of, right? The data book came out not too long ago. So the fact that they're trying to have it in the middle, where they say he has limitations, but they're not really clear, because okay, he's not using them on kunai. That doesn't mean he can't use them on kunai. Okay, the frogs themselves are carrying those charms around, and he's obviously put his seal or the jutsu, the technique, his chakra inside of those charms that they're carrying around. The diamond, the square, the circle, the leaf, whatever the fuck, right? So he can put that jutsu, he can put his flying Rajin seal onto things, or his jutsu onto things. Him putting it on the shuriken looks like it just happened in the chapter with no problem, right? And my complaint with the fact that they're trying to nerf it by having him use the frogs as a medium, which is also a smart technique, because he's talking to the frogs and they're communicating with him, telling them what's happening when he teleports, right? But it's also stupid, because technically he could just throw those charms around in the middle of fights like Minato did, right? In the middle of a fight, he can throw a charm around, and he can teleport. He can have them set up everywhere in the leaf before he even shows up, and like nobody would notice a little charm, a little square-shaped piece of metal laying on the floor somewhere. He could put the motherfuckers on the roofs. Nobody would notice that shit. He could put them into people's pockets and in the windows. Like, nobody would notice. In the grass, in the tree. Like, so why the frog? He doesn't have to use the frogs. It's a good little system that they thought of to use with the frogs. Okay, I do like seeing somebody use frog summonings a whole lot. So that idea is not bad, but it's, when you think about it, it's not the only way that he can use this jutsu. So my thinking that he used it on the kunai is not far-fetched, really. And that's exactly what it looked like he did. He used flying Rajin on the kunai. I'm pretty sure Sarada does not have a frog in her pocket Okay, I'm pretty sure that frog was not on the kunai. He threw that bitch and he teleported. And speaking of Sarada, the way that she earlier, maybe I'm misremembering this, but I remember earlier in like chapter 2 or 1 when the village got attacked the first time by Code, and she like kicked the claw grime and that motherfucker exploded, right? Am I wrong? Didn't she just like rip one in half with her hands or foot or something like that? She killed it, right? But now in this chapter, they brought the extra strong wood. No diddy. This claw grime's extra tough. He's made out of extra bark from the Senju tree. He's just strong for some reason, because when she kicked this claw grime, he didn't even flinch. Like, he just shook and didn't even move. He didn't recoil. And that enabled Hidari to stick his hand out from the fake Frieza mark on his chest and grab Sarada's foot. And, people might say, oh, well, it didn't do anything because Hidari caught the kid. No. She made contact on that motherfucker. And then his hand came out and caught her foot. She kicked the claw grime, and then he caught her. And then he came out with his hand and grabbed her ankle. And started turning into a tree over that shit. So whatever the fuck tree bark they made this claw grime out of, that nigga was sturdy. Because all of a sudden now, she can't break him. Which is like, okay, convenient, right? Kashin Koji being the obvious teacher that we all knew was going to be Boruto's like sensei or whatever, or like teaching him or whatever, give him some sort of guidance when he got lost. It's so obvious, but it's like, how the fuck does he know about these Shinju things, man? What other Shinju, what other person that got absorbed? Is this happening around the world? You know what I mean? Is it happening around the world? They haven't talked about any other villages going through this. That's one of my problems, is that the whole world seems like it doesn't exist in Boruto. It's only about the Leaf and Boruto and his friends and Boruto and Co., right? And that's kind of stupid. It's bad writing, because there's a whole world out there, and even if you don't want to, people can argue, we don't need to know about them, blah, blah, blah. It's not the story. Well, it would only make sense for a natural, in a story that's supposed to be flowing naturally, for the other villages to know something about this, bro. Who would not question Naruto as the Hokage just not being Hokage one day? They'd have to know. Somebody would find out that Naruto's not the Hokage anymore. And they would have to like inform the other villages and shit like that. And even if they didn't find that shit out yet, right, they're trying to keep it a secret, like how they kept every other thing that's like threatening the world. Like, these are events that are happening more deadly than Kaguya and Madara. And they're keeping it a secret, which is really egregious on the Leaf's part, right? That's like the ultimate fucking betrayal. And that none of these political things would ever come out and play out like they should, and like they did in Naruto. These things played out like the other villages got involved because of Sasuke. Like yeah, they weren't there in the first part of Naruto. Not all of them. It was more of a contained story then. These niggas just trying to become ninja. They weren't even dealing with the outside villages yet. Like one or two of them maybe. But I'm digressing. So, where are the reactions from these other people? Where's the writing for these other characters? No other shinobi poems. I don't like it. Kashin Koji knows stuff that he shouldn't know, realistically. What other person is turned into a Shinju that they have killed and seen the heart thorn of? And how come Boruto hasn't seen it? Because, like, I'm sure Kashin Koji didn't kill that motherfucker on his own. Whatever heart thorn it was he saw, I'm sure he didn't kill him on his own. There's no way he did. Like, he couldn't even fight Ishiki, still pretending to be Jigen. And he wasn't using his full Otsutsuki powers yet. He was still inside the human vessel. He didn't even download all of himself yet. Nigga had to speed the download up on him. Yeah, he had to speed the download up on him to win, and then become 100% Otsutsuki real quick in a fucked up vessel. But that still doesn't mean Kashin Koji is beating a Shinju, bro. So how does he know this? This is going to be something vital, but they're probably not going to tell us how he knows it. He's just going to know it because Boruto has to know it, right? And Boruto knows it now, so the plot has already been served. That's how this goes. Kurama, what did Kurama say? Well, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's fate. We're here. Fuck it. That's what Kurama said. Like that's all of Boruto's expositions from now on. It's gonna be, well, it doesn't matter. It already happened. Fuck it. We're here. That's how they wrap the shit up, man. It's crazy. And let me talk about the backgrounds and right. Because, yeah, the claw marks this time around are better, like I said earlier, because he's actually the system for them being put down. He's not even just the fact that we know he's putting them down with his eye, but he's literally doing what I said before the battle starts. Really, show the dude, do something to suggest that he's done this. What happened in this chapter? He popped out of the claw mark and his eye flashed and a whole bunch of them popped up. So now, even if he's like, I can still count in the scene. Like if this was JoJo, okay, or some other anime or manga, I should say, if it was some other manga, each of those marks would actually literally be there, okay? It's like, it would be like photorealistic to an extent. Like they would actually be there physically in the right spot. On Boruto, you could still count that, oh, some of the claw marks, he's just like putting them everywhere in the scene. But at that point, you don't even have to be picky. It's fine. It's good enough that he took consideration for the scene to make the character spread them around. So now he doesn't have to be as accurate where he's putting them. But he's already conveyed to all of us, and he already let us know that this guy has claw marks everywhere. He's gonna pop up wherever the fuck. So for a scene, for that shit to be convenient, it wouldn't be convenient anymore. If he just pops up here or there, it wouldn't be convenient anymore in the scene. It wouldn't feel convenient, right? So that's a bonus. But he had some flaws still with his character placement, and I don't really like it, right? So Sumare's on the ground because she got zapped last chapter. Okay, I thought she was teleporting around, but no, he showed her get up. Konohamaru told her, okay, let's get away from them. Like, so they ran back over to the corner with Himawari and the ninja guy, right? He was standing by a corner near some stores or some buildings and shit, so far away from the battle, right? It's like happening in the middle of the street and he's standing on somebody's porch, pretty much, right? So the fat sensory ninja is standing on somebody's porch with Himawari, and Konohamaru's over there. Okay, Konohamaru does go back over to protect Boruto while he's doing Uzumaki, but after that, he moves back again, right? He moves back again. He's away from them because Boruto's doing Uzumaki, which they didn't show Sarada getting away from that shit. It's just a big ass vortex, and now everybody's away from it. And that was one. That was strike number one. Like, okay, these people just teleported away from Boruto, so they're not in the scene anymore. He could have showed people running away before he did that big ass blast, but whatever. They got away, right? Off screen, they got away. Fine, I can't nitpick that. But then when Boruto gets sniped, mind you, Kwaki's dumbass let this happen, but when Boruto gets sniped, Konohamaru is all of a sudden like teleported into the scene, and he's just next to Boruto, and Boruto teleported next to that heart thorn or the soul thorn to grab it out the air. He didn't even have to walk over there. Like, is he using flying Rajin on shit like that now too? The kunai was one thing, but that's another, right? But I'm getting close to the end of my video, so I'll just talk about for a second, like toward the end. I don't have too many complaints about him. That I can say at the very least, these Shinju characters are interesting until they're not, because right now they're still in that process of trying to figure out what type of characters they are and all that sort of shit, and they're questioning things, right? That's always an interesting character because you don't know where they're gonna go. But once you start to find out where they're gonna go, that's when they get boring. He's turning out to be another Jigen or Ishiki before he lost his cool. He's calm and just like straightforward, logical. It's the same thing that other guy was, okay? It's barely any difference. Maybe it's on purpose too, because he's probably supposed to be a clone of him, right? But nonetheless, it's making a boring character once we start to find out he just wants to kill Boruto now. And if he just wants to kill Boruto, how come he didn't do it then? How come he didn't run up on him after he shot him and kill him? Nobody can stop him. But he's gonna retreat with the soul fruit and resurrect fake Sasuke, right? That's what's he's gonna resurrect fake Sasuke. And then And then Himawari, who he wants, is right there. So he could have just got everything he wanted right there. He shot Boruto and shot Sarada. He can go take Himawari. Nobody else can stop him. And he can kill the other people who's getting his way. Like, when he wants to be so logical that it's to a fault. It's to a fault because it doesn't even make sense. This isn't even logical anymore. It's just stupid. It's just serving the plot. And don't get me started on that Little Tail Beast bomb. Him making it small is not far-fetched, but should it really not blow up, bro? I think that shit should have still blew up. A little mini explosion or something. You know what I mean? To make everybody else unconscious around them, something. But alright, that's it for this video though. I'm out. If you stuck around this long, bro, you might as well leave a like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? You might as well. You might as well. I'll drop another video on Boruto next time a chapter comes out. Or next time some info comes out. Any other anime or manga, stick around. Bleach, Jujutsu Kaisen, Kagurabachi, One Punch Man, Kaiju number 8, JoJo Lion, Berserk, Vinland Saga, Fire Force, Demon Slayer reactions, My Hero reactions and thoughts. Did I say Jujutsu Kaisen already? All those anime I just mentioned, I'm going to be talking about and more on my channel sometime soon. Maybe sooner than later if I'm doing it right, you know. And maybe if people start asking, I get motherfuckers in here asking for stuff, maybe I can start giving a bunch of different mangas and animes that I read and watch, but you know, they're not really popular. I could start putting some shit on that I think is like sleepers, like Osama Rankin, okay? Osama Rankin and Roku no Yusha. We'll get there. We'll talk about it. But I'm out.